Welcome back to Can You Survive? Tides of War. We are live now and out to see another tribal council. May I have drums, please? Thank you. All right. The signal for the tribal council. For those of you just joining us today, are down to the final 5 players. And after this tribal, they will be at the final 4. So, as with every vote out this day, it becomes, bigger and bigger, closer and closer to getting to the end. All right, just a little delay on getting the players in here, but that gives us a few more moments for everyone to file on in. Kim, do we have a time for after we cut the stream when the next? Okay. All right. Okay. After this tribal council, I just want to let you all. Sorry, the math is hard. Oh no, Wi-Fi is really glitchy. It's trying. I think it's all day 5 effects. All right, I see players in the distance. Let's go ahead and turn. Just joining. This is the 5 tribal council. This. All right, the final 5 players of approaching tribal council area, and we have Drew.
Welcome back,
Dylan, Kevin R, Ale, and Cam.
I'll now bring in our jury. We have Katie, Dan, Zoe, Louie, Molly, Meg, Alicia, and Ty. All right, down to the final 5. Kevin, there's some audible you at the last council. Did that put action that you needed into the community to make sure bubble into a year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of came at me and was, fighting for his life, and I have all respect. But boy, that was not pleasant. So I think this immunity, I was quite scared and really was just, I locked in and thankfully was able to get it done, but was really nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dylan, I mean, you've also had your name come up at multiple consecutive tribal councils here. How are you able to kind of navigate such a small group? There's fewer and fewer places to hide, fewer and fewer threats that you can prop up around you.
Well, the people that put my name down aren't here anymore.
Okay, well said. Okay. I'm pretty surprised by that answer. Okay. Very, very frank. All right. Ale, I mean, how do you now manage this group of 5? Do you feel like people are planning for a final 3, or are people making plans for a final 2 as well?
I think people are planning for a final 3. We just Alicia had this theory that final 4 is gonna be like making fire, because we saw like 2 extra like little strings. So I know that right now the conversation was like, whoa, we're gonna make fire. But I was like, I can't make fire. So like, great. So I think people are planning for. I don't think anyone's thinking about final 2. I'm not thinking about final 2. Maybe that's just really naive of me. I don't know. This round was really interesting in terms of like what we did, we kind of go back to camp and took a kimono nap. We thought they were gonna wake us up and tell us you have 20 minutes to strategize. And Ned was like, "Hey, we're gonna start lining up," and we're like, we haven't talked at all, so we had to like strategize with like less than 5 minutes, just kind of like as we're packing our shit, like talk to each other, which is definitely not ideal for anyone. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, Drew, talk a little bit about obviously the exhaustion of the game, but that seems really surprising to me that we're down to this crucial stage of the game, the final five, and the players are choosing to nap instead of strategizing ahead of one of them for this game.
Yeah, I mean, we're all tired, don't get me wrong, but I think something else that contributed to it was that we're just very aware of the situation that we're in. I don't think anybody is necessarily surprised at like what took place in the strategizing, the very rushed strategizing that we had today. Um, it's pretty clear that it's going to be Cam or me.
Okay.
And we kind of just pitched our cases and then we hugged each other and I think we both accepted whatever happens.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I understand kind of the concept of not trying to kind of belabor the point too long or re-go over anything. Do you each kind of want to share with the class today, what that pitch might have been?
I can share. There are two people left in this game that I said I would never write their names down. Ale on night one, I said I feel good about you. I want to go to the end with you. And Dylan, after saving Meg and me, I said I won't write your name down ever. The last few votes, I've been like throwing random things just in case someone had an idol and wrote his name down. So I can't vote for either of them. So there's only one person I can vote for. And we've had a really fun dynamic this whole game of like, maybe we'll work together next time. And eventually, it's we'll make it never happened. So I think at this point, it's just like, I'm hoping that my offer of trust and like not willing to vote certain ways can be reciprocated. And that's kind of my pitch.
Yeah.
Also, I'm bad at making fire. So if you want to throw me in, let's go.
Okay. I mean, that's an interesting pitch, Dylan. I mean, we've seen this a lot. I feel like with this merge so far of people kind of pitching themselves as an extra vote, and I don't feel like an extra vote could be any more important than at the final four. So how do you kind of weigh Cameron's proposition there?
Yeah, I mean, we said we weren't gonna cry. I'm okay. It's really hard because Cam was one of the first people I connected to post merge. And has been there for me for a lot of it. And I've been there for him for a lot of it. And Drew and I were on the same tribe from the start. And have also had to look out for each other in the same capacity. So for me, it's sort of like I have to think about the end stage in my vote. I don't have any other thing that I can possibly base my vote off of without it becoming exponentially or I don't know. I to go off of at this point, and the things that set in place and the things. Yeah, I think the consensus that I have from this whole group is like I think the five of each other, and there is a little bit like it's a game, which I have to keep reminding myself because when you're in it, it's really hard to remember that it's that.
Yeah, and ultimately, it's a game where these people that you potentially are about to betray will hold your fate in a few short hours. Drew, I mean, as the other potential person, what was your pitch to the group here?
I don't know if I had a pitch. It was more of just a understanding of what we've been through so far. These two were very honest that they were voting for me. So I told Dylan and Kevin, like, look, we've been through a lot together. I mean what I say about wanting to move forward with you, and I feel like I've proven my loyalty over and over again, and it's been reciprocated. So I just want to continue what we've been doing, and that's my pitch.
Okay. Kevin, I mean, as the one that's immune, I feel like you can most look forward to the next vote when making kind of a decision here in this group. Are you basing your decision more on who you would potentially like to sit next to, or who's going to be more difficult to beat when it comes to the next challenge?
Yeah, I mean, Cam and I had a very straightforward conversation where I was like, I'm not going to BS you. This is not the time to lie. There's no point in trying to blindside you. I think you are my biggest competitor, and this is a nod to you. I think Cam could really win it against any of us, and that's my perspective. Of course, he might not share that, but that's what I base my vote off of, and yeah, I was not beating around the bush with him, and let him know.
I don't think it's that clear cut, and if you weren't safe, I probably would want to vote you out. So I get it. It's mutual. Much love. Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate the honesty from this group at this vote. It feels like everything that needs to have been said is said, and decisions will be made based on what's best for each of you. We'll start with the vote. We'll start with you, Kevin.
All right, voting is starting, which means it's time for us to head away from the tribal council area and hang out for a few short minutes while these 5 players cast their votes. Okay. All right, I'm like walking with purpose over to our shady shrub so that we can fill each other in. As always, this is your time to ask questions, chat about what we just heard at Tribal Council, and just get caught up on the round and what's been going on and what's been said. Because despite players, saying, "Oh, we only had 5 minutes to strategize," we did their confessionals a while ago, and a lot of strategy was being discussed in lots of groups. Were feeling like they were together. So, the work was put in before the communal nap. Don't worry, these are not players that are suddenly tapping out of this game so close to the finish line. All right. So, again, our final 5 we just saw: Ale, Cam, Drew, Dylan, and Kevin R. And let's see, Dylan talked a lot about, how between Drew and Cam, he had loyalty for both of them, had been with both of them for a long time in this game and had been working with them quite a bit. And he is very torn on which way to go. He was not sure and was just trying to, weigh out what to do. He sees Kevin R. As like as having a very high threat level. And so Dylan, it was kind of, on the one hand, looking toward like the next immunity challenge to see, who could beat Kevin R. Or like in a fire making challenge, like who might be better. And so Dylan really trying to make sure that he sets himself up to, get as far in this game as possible. And in hopes of making it to the final 3. And speaking of final 3, Dylan, of course, part of the Gay Latino Alliance of Dylan, Kevin R, and Ale, and I believe that is his ideal final 3. So Dylan does have his sights on both Drew and Cam now. Sorry, I just made that up. I think he thinks that Kevin R has to go. And wants to, and maybe, sorry, it's so hot out here and we're all so tired. Okay. So yeah, basically Dylan is in a swing position. Dylan, I think, has Ale like super with him, and Ale is fine with either option. And I believe, just like he did in a previous round where he was with Meg M and said, Meg M, I'll vote any way that you want me to, like you decide for us. I believe he's kind of done that again with Dylan, that at this final 5, that he's like, hey, I'm fine with either option, so you decide and I'll vote with you. So giving away a little bit of agency with that, maybe to in order to continue confirming the trust. Brad saying, cue the energy drinks. Don't you worry, I've already drank 2 today and you would never know. So let's see. Moving over to the third piece of the Gay Latino Alliance is Kevin R., who is immune and does want a final 3 of Dylan and Ale and himself. He also feels that he has undying loyalty from both Drew and Dylan. And obviously, as we saw, wants Cam gone, said that in his confessional and again there at the tribal council. Dylan, however, again, is not giving Kevin R. his undying loyalty. So that is a little bit of an incorrect read on Kevin R.'s part. Moving over to Drew and Cam, the two that are potentially vulnerable at this tribal. Cam is voting Drew not only because he's claiming that she's the only other option. His ideal FTC final 3 would be himself, Dylan, and Ale. But he really feels that Drew could win in a final tribal council scenario and wants to make sure that he eliminates that threat in Drew. Drew, of course, aiming her sights on Cam. She feels like, hey, he finally doesn't have immunity. Like, this is our shot. And interestingly, Drew earlier had wanted to go to FTC with 2 vets. She's now changed course and wants to go to FTC with the rookies. So she is hoping that it'll be a her, Dylan, and Kevin R final 3. So a big switch up after Ty left her, which was her number 1 ally last round. So good on Drew for being adaptable and changing things around. One more thing of note, Dylan has kind of been wanting to be the one that pulls the strings behind the scenes and doesn't get any blood on his hands. So now he's realizing, I'm now going to have to do this publicly for pretty much the first time when he chooses between Drew and Cam. So I think everyone kind of knows he's the swing and his vote will decide this one. So eager to see which way the pendulum has swung. Again, he has very deep connections with both of those players. So all right, we are heading on back into the final tribal council area. So let me get us all switched around so that we can see our lovely final 5. And also thank y'all for the encouragement. It came at a very lovely time.
All right, I'll get to the votes. First vote, Drew. Second vote, Cam. Third vote, Cam. Fourth vote, Drew. We're tied 2 votes apiece, 1 vote remaining. The next member of our jury, Cam. That's 3, that's enough. Okay.
I'm not ready for this.
Cam, the tribe has spoken. Thank you.
All right. And to wrap this up, Cam is going to be heading this way with me, away from where he was going and towards the shade over here to the left. Cam, we are still live. As soon as we get you set up in the shade and get our remaining players out of earshot, this will be your time to just settle in and share any thoughts that you have with our fantastic viewers. So we will just come on over, maybe in this patch of shade here next to this birch tree. Are we getting? Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay. All right, Cam. This is your time.
Yeah.
Let us know.
To say
what you want.
anything?
Yeah, anything. This is your time.
Honestly, I'm feeling very relieved. I wasn't excited for the possibility of having to do another vote if I was still there. I do feel very betrayed, but that's part of the game, and I feel very excited about how this all went. I think I came in with a lot of doubts and hesitations, and to hear multiple people say that they thought I was a winner threat, it feels good. It would be better to actually win, but I have a lot to think about as far as who I would give a vote to win. So see what happens.
Oh, glad to see that you are thinking ahead to your role as a juror. Yeah. So that means we will see you later today at a final tribal council. Before we let you go, just want to catch up with you on a couple of things. Obviously, incredible showing, final 5. Yeah. No small feat, lots to be proud of. About your second time out here playing Can You Survive? I would love to know maybe what something that you're most proud of about your time out here.
I think I'm most proud of hanging on a ridiculous thing for 30 minutes. I have a pinched nerve in my neck and have very limited range of motion, and I've been going to physical therapy. So I was like, there's no way I could do it. But who knew? And I was doing this basically the whole time. So that was really amazing. And also just seeing that I could forge connections with people, and most of them were real, which is great.
Absolutely. Cam, I'd love to know maybe something you learned about yourself and your time out here, or maybe something that you knew and kind of just needed that little reconfirmation.
Yeah. I have a lot of health anxiety, and I was very worried about the not eating and sleeping on the ground and stuff, and to know that my body is physically capable of doing this, that I am strong, was really incredible. Makes me very proud of myself in a way that is different from the rest of the game and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Cam. Well, before we let you go, you are playing for a very worthy cause. So this is your opportunity to shout them out and let all the viewers know who you're playing for.
Yeah, I'm playing for the Canine Cancer Alliance. They fund research for curing and treating cancer in dogs. I was an alternate actually for a player who was raised money for this because their dog has cancer, and so for me, I was I'm playing for myself. I'm also playing for this dog, and I don't know. It's just been very cool. It's nice to know that I did a good job and got a lot of money for this charity that is very intentional about directly donating to the research. So yeah.
Incredible. Well, Cam, thank you so much. We will let you head on over to Ponderosa, and we will see you later today.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a game very well played.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. And with that, we're going to end this stream, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes on the challenge field for a final 4 immunity challenge. So see you in 15 minutes. I don't know what else to follow that up with. I feel like you'll get it. All right, see you soon.
Oh, I really wanted to be in the final with you looking at me the first.
Oh.
I'm